Oh boy, Coda. I can't wait to see the new Galaxy Conflict film.
Uh, wasn't that a good film series like, what, 50 years ago?
Oh, I'm not going to watch the film. I'm here to watch people sob and eat popcorn in egregious volumes. At some point, we've all run into it, right? We're walking through some generic convenience store and we see it. A brand new toy line. But it's not a new toy line. It's an IP from before you were born masquerading as something new. Is this all we are now? A bunch of hapless rubes locked into buying old crap our parents liked? Sometimes it's nice to see things die off, at least before they turn into corporate slop for the unwashed masses. Let a film die with dignity. It's like the old saying goes, die a hero or live long enough to see your corpse get defiled. Sun Tzu. Man, that dude's prolific for a dead guy. Shouldn't we be trying to make new stuff? Something that speaks to the new generation of people? Well, I guess not. Now let's all go watch the next SpongeBob reboot that spits on the grave of the creator. So what exactly do I mean when I say recycled nostalgia? At least in my opinion, it's any brand that crossed generations and is now getting new content when the original creators never had that in mind. So think stuff like Star Wars, Alien, Terminator. All these were fantastic series of films that were rightfully remembered and held in high regard. But now, every film after the original run, were they any good? Did anyone like the recent Terminator films? Now I'm just speaking from my perspective as an outsider, but I really couldn't give less of a shit about Star Wars sequels, even if they were good films. I would have preferred that money go to a new project, something different, something that wasn't banking off of people's nostalgia from the original movies. So where does this harm our growth as a culture? Usually I hate to talk like this, but it seems to have made creativity stagnate. Nothing feels new. People are constantly getting asked the same thing over and over again. There's no room for small projects to grow when they're competing against corporate art. It's hard to fight against a structure that has unlimited funding and will absorb anything just to meet a quota. Nostalgia seems to be a pretty fickle bitch. One moment you're riding the endless money wave, then you're struggling to find an audience. All you have to do is look at Marvel in its current state. They took classic characters, breathed new life into them, and completely used them up. And that was after rehashing them over and over again since their original inception. And even then, content was being recycled by them long before the MCU. Almost 40 different interpretations of Spider-Man dating all the way back to 1963. So it's not like this is a new phenomenon. Familiarity breeds contempt. If they had taken their time with the creation of the MCU, it would have definitely lasted longer than it did. But they continued to recycle these classic characters until people were sick of seeing them. Even a die-hard Marvel fan would roll their eyes at the old crap they're trying to trot out. The bigger picture here leads me to believe that the constant repetition of our old IPs is actively stagnating our culture. So when is enough enough? I could get all listless and reminisce on old characters that I wish would have made a comeback, or things that I felt should have gotten a better shot. But I don't think that's helpful. I think the fact that these franchises are basically only surviving on nostalgia for the original tells us the whole story. We're sick of seeing decaying corpses of things we liked. Everyone wishes they could see their childhood dog again, but it wouldn't be so touching if a soulless corporate suit brought you their body and made it dance around like a marionette. Everyone needs to keep an eye out for smaller projects. Stuff that we can call our own. I feel like I say it all the time, but seriously, we should be paying attention to small artists. I see way too many talented people getting swept under the rug. And even worse, larger artists letting their work stagnate just so they can stay relevant with their audience. So why don't we make anything new? It might be trite and overused to say, but new doesn't sell. It's hard enough to get people in those seats, even harder to have them stay. One look at the YouTube analytics will tell you that much. Anyone care for a Spider-Man and Elsa video? It's all playing off recognizable characters to get asses planted. But we seem to lose the plot when it comes to understanding how to use nostalgia effectively. I think one of the best examples of this is a recent one. The Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie was a fantastic story about a man crushed by society's unrelenting indifference to him. He's beaten down and it shows what happens when somebody has nothing to live for. This was a fantastic use of an old IP. It reimagined the Joker in a more realistic way that was entirely relatable to the young folks of this generation. And then the sequel came out and retroactively ruined the first movie. You know, that film wasn't all that bad. I could have gone with all the grunting and toilet flushing sounds, though.
Reed, You just spent the entire movie eating paper towels in the bathroom.
Huh. Still probably better than what you saw. So let's talk about who's making it impossible for these new IPs to be successful. And this one's going to be a tough pill to swallow, but it's the public. Corporations wouldn't make slop if it didn't make money. So yeah, I could pin it all on faceless corporate types, but in all reality, it's on both parties. It takes two to tango, and by God, y'all are doing the suicidal samba. But it's not all doom and gloom. I feel like recently there's been a huge pushback from the public. People are tired of seeing trash. They want real stories, not the same corporate trite that's pushed out constantly. So how do we fight back? Hate is not the opposite of love. Indifference is. If a soulless corporation makes garbage, don't engage. Don't even give them a few pennies they make off of bad reviews. Just like what happened with the recent video game Concord, that's all we have to collectively do. Ignore and don't engage. It'll send one hell of a message to the executives if their cookie-cutter by-the-numbers reboot was made and nobody showed up. But hey, that's just my thoughts. Recycled nostalgia is something I believe we're all sick of. It's driven by corporate assholes who want us to consume garbage and never ask for quality. Now, there are definitely times when bringing an old IP back to life can work, but we shouldn't be prioritizing old franchises over new projects. It degrades our media and in turn our culture. At the end of the day, it's up to you to keep an eye out for new indie projects and things with soul. And it's even more important for us to reject the slop we're being served. In conclusion, you become what you consume. Eat a cinder block.